Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips, and I am going to be your host for the next hour. If you're tuning in for the first time, let me explain a little bit about Unlocking Your Truth. Every week we have a different topic in the realm of metaphysics and spirituality, and that really just means anything at all on the spiritual side of things. We love talking about intuition and psychic phenomenon and personal growth and all of those wonderful things. And we also invite you to phone in with your questions. Either if you've got something that you want to contribute to the topic of the day, which today is going to be manifestation, by the way, or if you've got a personal issue or crisis going on in your life, say, for example, something to do with your health or your finances or your career, relationships, life purpose, and so on, then you can phone up and I will take a look at the energy around your question and I will take a look at you. But the other thing, of course, is if you have had some experiences of your own that you can't explain, either of a paranormal nature or a spiritual experience or an experience with your own intuition, then phone up and share the experience. And if you want some further clarity about what was going on, then we'd be happy to help you with that. So, like I said, we're going to talk about manifestation because we're coming to the end of 2015 and the beginning of 2016. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to that time of year, like to spend some time reviewing the year that's just gone by and planning ahead for the year that is stretching out in front of them. And of course, one of the tricks with manifestation is it's always a good idea to let go of the old in order to allow the energy of the new to flow to you. Otherwise, it's a bit like, I like to use the analogy of your clothes closet, of your wardrobe. If you just keep buying new outfits and putting them in your closet, pretty soon it will be so jam-packed full of stuff you won't be able to see the new stuff. You won't even be able to see what you have. So it's really important to throw out the old stuff as you bring in the new stuff. And manifestation's a little bit like that too. It's always a good idea to take a look at your life and say, okay, well, what did I create? What new things did I create in 2015? And what things are in my life that I've outgrown, that are no longer working for me, that no longer suit me, and just focus on releasing and letting go of those things. And there are even some people I know on New Year's Eve, they do a kind of a letting go ceremony. So, for example, you write down all of the things that you want to let go of on a piece of paper, and then you put them in the fire and burn them. And you're releasing, the idea is, that's a symbol of you releasing the energy that's tied up in the thing that you're wanting to let go of, so that now you have that energy available for new things.
Yeah, one thing to remember when you do that, though, is don't write the positive thing down. Make sure that you're writing the negative. For instance, if you want to shed some of those extra pounds that you picked up over the holidays, don't write down I want to lose weight and then burn that, because what'll happen is just the opposite might happen. And by the way, that thing about old and new, the Buddhists have a lovely thing about water. You can't fill up a glass if it's full. But if I want another baby, do I have to throw the old baby out?
No. No, you certainly don't. I wouldn't recommend that. I think that could get you into all sorts of trouble, Corey, if you did that.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. So I thought we could talk a little bit about manifestation. So we've covered letting go of the old, which is an important part of it. You can't just have creating on its own. You've got the opposite side, which is destroying. Like everything on this planet has an opposite. So the opposite of creating something is destroying something. But the other tips, folks, for when you're looking forward to 2016 and thinking about, well, what new things do I want in my life in the coming year? So how do you energetically go about creating that? So, of course, yes, you might want to just sit and meditate and come up with a list of things that you want to create. And then what? Well, it's really important that you believe that you can attract whatever this thing is that you want to create. So being able to believe in it is really important. If you don't believe that you can create or have this thing, let's make up an example, like you're single and you want to attract a relationship. If you're holding all sorts of beliefs that say, well, that can't happen to me, or I'm not worthy, or I always attract the wrong type of people, or my relationships never last. If you have a whole bundle of beliefs around relationships, then those beliefs are going to affect your ability to manifest the relationship, and also, if you do manifest a relationship, what type of relationship you attract. And so it's a good idea when you are contemplating what you're wanting to create for 2016 to just examine your feelings and beliefs around it. Is this something that you genuinely believe that you can have? Or somewhere are there a bundle of doubts and disbeliefs? Because if there's a bundle of doubts and disbeliefs, that is definitely going to affect the speed at which you manifest your desire. And of course, okay, so you say, okay, Dr. Lesley, well, yeah, I do. I've got some beliefs that are kind of going against what I want to create. So then what can I do? Well, you can change your beliefs. And there are lots of different techniques out there in the world to help you change your beliefs. If you've listened to our podcast, you know that I give away some techniques on the show that help you to do that. One of them is called grounding, and I think we were talking about grounding on last week's show. If you go back over the podcast, you'll definitely find a few shows that teach you how to do that. There are other ways as well. Hypnotherapy, for example, is one. But basically the idea is if you don't let go of those beliefs, they're in your energy field. They're helping set your energy frequency, and you attract basically the energy frequencies that you're putting out. So that's tip number one for manifestation. And Corey's looking very thoughtful. I don't know if he's got something to add to that, but if not, I'll tell you my tip number two.
Well, I always have something to add. One of the things, working in personal development for so many years, one of the things that we did, and this has been successful with hundreds of thousands of people, is you take an elastic band or something and that you can snap and put it on your wrist. And what you do is, if you have a negative thought about something, you snap it. And it's going to sting you a little bit. It's going to hurt. I mean, don't snap it hard enough to break your veins or anything. Just snap it on the side of your wrist. And then afterwards, give yourself the positive thought, the opposite of that negative, and kiss yourself, and do that 3 times. Kiss your wrist where you hurt yourself. And it actually works. Most people find that within 3 days of consciously doing that, they have very few negative thoughts about anything.
Yeah. So that's a technique for helping you raise your awareness level and become mindful of when you're having these negative thoughts. And it's a way of reprogramming your belief system. So there's another technique for letting go of beliefs that are not supporting you. Tip number 2 is one of the things that people will do when they want to manifest or create something is they'll feel like they need to control it. They'll feel like they need to have like their hands on the steering wheel and their fingers on the controls, and and make sure that they're in charge of birthing this into the world. The problem is when you do that, what you're actually doing is creating limits. Because you, from your perspective, can only see in a very limited way how this thing that you want is going to come about. Whereas if you can completely surrender to the universe, you're opening yourself up to infinite possibilities, infinite ways for the universe to configure what you're asking for and deliver it back to you. And if we use the relationship example again, it's kind of like somebody wants a relationship, they're totally fixated on their ex and getting their ex back, but really that's not what they want. If they were really to examine what they want, it might be it might be the feelings that a relationship is going to bring to them. And there are so many other options besides their ex that if they were open to receive them, they might actually be a lot happier. So don't control your creation and your creativity. Do you agree with that, Corey? You're laughing again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. What I love about that is just picture it, okay? Here I am. I've wanted to create a relationship, and it just isn't coming. So everything I've done isn't working. So what do? I sit down and I set the intention, and I want to manifest a relationship, and I do all the work, and then I let it go, give it up to the universe. But at the same time, I say to the universe, if you need a hand, just let me know and I'll take over.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Does it make sense?
No, it doesn't. Then tip number 3. This is a good one, and there's a story that I've heard a few times other people tell, which I think really illustrates this. But tip number 3 is recognize it when it comes. Because if you've been controlling it and you've got preconceived ideas of what it looks like, it will look exactly like my ex and it will be my ex. The best, a really great match might come along and it will completely pass you by because you won't recognize your creation when it comes back to you. And the story that I'm thinking of is, you might have heard it before, but that it's the man who, there's a flood in his neighborhood, and he's sitting on the roof of his house and he's praying to God, oh God, please come and save me from dying in this flood. And one of his neighbors comes past in a rowboat and says, hey John, jump in the boat, come along with us. And he says, no, I've prayed to God, and God will save me. So off goes, the neighbors. And, the next minute, a helicopter comes with some rescue guys and, trying to get him to climb on the end of the ladder. No, I've prayed to God and God will come and save me. And on it goes with a few different iterations of that. But the basic idea is his prayer, his desire is being fulfilled. His prayer is being answered. The universe is providing all of these different ways to get him out of his situation. He just can't see it because he has a preconceived idea of what being rescued by God looks like. So be open. Be open to all the possibilities that the universe might lay at your feet. That it might not look exactly like you expect it to. Okay, so don't close the doors on your creation before you've had the chance to even experience it.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine, I won't name her name, but she and her husband split up many years ago, and she's been looking for a relationship and never find. And nobody's interested. Like when you hear her talk, nobody's interested in me. There's nobody around. And I'm I hang around. I was hanging around with this person, and all I see are these guys that are interested in her. Like all these guys drooling over her. Like she can sing, and she's a wonderful individual, great sense of humor. No, didn't see it.
Yeah.
Blind to it, completely blind.
It's so funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, the next tip is allow yourself to receive it. Because some people, believe it or not, are fantastic manifestors. They're brilliant at it. No problem creating whatever they want. But then they've got a hang-up about allowing them to receive. They've got limits on how much they can receive. So these might be the type of people where they can manifest money, but the money flows through their fingers faster than it comes in, kind of thing. Or various other reasons or blocks to, allowing themselves to. Well, there's allow yourself to receive it. That's one level, and the other level is allowing yourself to actually have it and enjoy it. Okay, so I guess the person that creates the money and then spends it immediately is may not be allowing themselves to have it. But then there are people who don't even allow themselves to receive it. Somebody tries to give them what they've asked for, and no, thank you. So that's tips number 4 and 5 there. Allow yourself to receive your creation and allow yourself to have it. So, and then my final tip before we go to the break is actually it's not my final one. I've got 2 more. Be at the frequency of that which you wish to attract. So we're always saying you create your reality. You create your reality through your thoughts and through your beliefs and through basically the energetic frequencies that you are holding in your space. And so if you're holding a lot of doubt and disbelief in your space and unworthiness, then that's going to be directly proportional to your ability to manifest what you want. Whereas, and we'll use the relationship example again, if you want to manifest a relationship, then think about everything that you hope that relationship will bring to you. That you'll be in a frequency of joy, and love, and then be at those frequencies now as though you already have what you are asking for, because you attract that which you are. So if you want love, be love. If you want joy, be joy. But if you are pain and you want love, you will get pain. If you are fear and you want joy, you will get fear. So be the frequency of that which you would like to attract.
Another way to say that is be the person you're looking to attract. Or if we look at a sports metaphor, if you really enjoy hockey, right, and you're looking for somebody in your life who has those same interests, do you go to a football game to find them? No, you go to a hockey game. You put out that energy, rooting for your favorite team, and being that person, and that's where you're going to find people of like mind, in essence. And
that's a good analogy because I think the other part to that analogy is that sometimes and the relationships is a good example for this. People will do things in order to attract a relationship that aren't really authentically who they are, and then that's like beginning the relationship on a lie. If you go to bars to find a relationship but you hate going to bars, then
or if you want a caring, loving relationship, go to a bar and pick up a drunk. It works every time. It's like going to to their SPCA, a BC SPCA, and picking up a puppy dog, take it home. Depending on what happened with that puppy, it might bite you.
Yeah, it might do. And then, finally, and I think this is relates a little bit to what I was talking about, being the frequency of that which you want to attract, is a lot of people, when they're focusing on abundance, focus predominantly on money. Wanting to manifest more money because they think if I was rich and I was wealthy and I had all of this money, then I could do anything I want. But in that equation, you're sort of creating a middleman kind of thing. And really all money is energy. So, my advice would just be really actually to focus on, okay, well, if you had the money, what would you do with the money? And then focus on that. So, for example, if you love sailing and you would like your own boat, and you're thinking, well, I'm going to focus on manifesting some money. Well, why not just focus on manifesting the boat? Because the boat may come to you without any money needing to change hands. A friend might give you a boat. You might win a boat in a competition. Who knows? So it's it's a few of these pieces of advice all tied in one here. But you don't want to limit yourself by focusing on the money. And you also want to be, if by focusing on the money, you're not necessarily getting into the frequency of what you're wanting to attract, which is the thing that you're going to do with the money.
Remember the when we were doing the circles, the manifestation circles, and there's this group out of Hawaii that sets up manifestation circles for people. It's really wonderful. There's this couple in there who said, they moved to Hawaii, and what they wanted, they wanted a beautiful home by the water, with this and certain things attached, and all nice, and they wanted it given to them. And how many people hearing that would say, "Oh, they're insane"?
They wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Nobody would believe it. Tip number 1: you have to believe you can have it.
And or maybe it's too big and I don't deserve it, and wouldn't you know it, that somebody was giving up a house. They had to go back to the mainland, and they needed somebody to take over the house, and also a business. Remember,
it was a bed and breakfast.
It was they wanted a business as well, and it was a bed and breakfast. And they were given this house for a couple of 3-4 years, and they ended up the people gave them an offer on the house with the money that they made from the bed and breakfast. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. So open yourself up to possibilities. We have been talking about manifestation, and I invited listeners to call in with their manifestation stories or their manifestation questions, and the number is 604-504-7441, extension 4142. So what was the story you were going to share, Corey?
Well, I've got a couple of them. One of my favorite ones is about this lady I know, and she is the most magnificent manifester. You know her, by the way. I'm not going to use any names right now. But 2 years ago, she said, I'd really like a radio show. And she went out and she was looking for radio shows. And everybody wanted to charge her money to go on the radio and all kinds of stuff like that. And then one day, she had done some guest spots on radio shows and stuff. And we were walking, her and I were walking through a fair. And there was the CIVL booth. I said, well, let's go over to the CIVL booth and talk to them. Oh, okay. What do we want to talk to them about? Well, maybe you can do a guest spot. Oh, okay. So we went over, and sure enough, we started talking, and I asked the lady, are you looking for hosts? She said, oh, yes, we're always looking for hosts. What kind of show? Talk show. Okay. And that was Dr. Lesley Phillips who manifested that.
What's your other story? Moving swiftly on.
Oh, I have so many of them, actually. I think my favorite one, though, is the one with the wood, when we found the wood.
That was a funny one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
share that one.
Oh, yeah, we had moved into this apartment, and we had our bed kitty corner, and because it was a smaller apartment. And I do this thing with storage. I like to store stuff and make sure every nook and cranny of the house is properly done, so you have space in the house. So what I wanted to do is put a shelf behind the bed, a triangular shelf. So I went to one of our big stores, the hardware stores where you can get wood cut. So I went down there and I wanted to buy a sheet of plywood and have it cut in a triangle, and basically in two, in half. And the person says, "We don't do diagonal cuts." And so I went to another place. "We don't do diagonal cuts." And so I don't have tools or anything. I didn't know anybody with any tools at the time. I'm sure if I looked around, I could have found somebody. But I said to Lesley, I said, we'll get what we're looking for. Well, wasn't it 3 days later we were walking around, and this is in Kitsilano, okay? This is in a nice area of town, and we're walking around. I said, "Look at across the road there. There's a whole bunch of plywood." I walked over, and it said, "Sign for free." And wouldn't you, that was the exact, and not close, the exact piece of plywood dimensionally that we needed. And it was only a block and a half from home, so we could carry it home with no problem.
Yeah, what are the chances of that?
Yeah.
The exact cut to measure.
What a coincidence!
Yeah, it was quite amazing.
I love that. I love that because that's one of those things that, your friend's not going to have that. Your buddy's not going to. It's not something that would show up just in different places. Like if I would have said, "Well, I wanted a saw to cut that wood," that could have shown up in so many different places, and it could be "quote unquote" coincidental in essence.
But isn't it interesting? I mean, I think we didn't talk about this earlier, but I think that people have a tendency, like to be able to manifest small things like that, and people don't have people don't have less trouble believing, like manifesting something little like that, versus some large creation like a house or even a relationship. And so I think we have a lot of programming. We were talking about this earlier about what you can manifest, and actually it's the exact same laws of reality that are at play, whether you manifest a made-to-measure piece of wood, or you manifest $1 million, or you manifest a beach house, or you manifest a new job, or you manifest a new relationship. There's no difference in the laws of reality that are at play. It's just how our minds are perceiving our ability to create.
True.
Yeah, true. Well, I wonder if we have any questions that have been emailed in.
We have some questions, and I've been holding some of these questions off because you don't do the future questions. Like you won't answer future questions and put somebody's. But what I thought was, why don't we take some of these future questions and explain a little bit of manifestation behind them. Maybe what you could do is give them a hand in learning how to manifest these things as opposed to just telling them.
Sure.
And this one is from Myra. And Myra's question is, can you give me any information on my life purpose?
Life purpose.
Well, that may be just a straight one.
Yeah, that's just a straight one, isn't it? But I'll take a look at that. We get that question from a lot of people. That's actually, I think I've said this before. I do a thing where people can ask me a question for free. It's on my website, drlesleyphillips.com. You can go on there and ask a question for free. And nearly 50% of the question is some version of, why am I here? What's my purpose? It amazes me that everyone has a purpose, and yet so many of us feel so lost and not in touch with that. But anyway, let's take a look at that question for Myra. And I'll take a minute. It's always a bit funny on air to go a bit quiet, but that's what I need to do to tune into Myra's energy. So I'm just doing that now, tuning into Myra's energy and taking a look at her life purpose. Well, one of the first things that's coming up is, and in a way, this is, I always say this is the shared life purpose of the entire humankind. It is how to be senior as spirit in a physical body. Some people call that enlightenment or spiritual awareness or spiritual awakening. But basically what it is you are a spiritual consciousness. Your body is a vehicle that you've created in order to have some experiences in. And you can kind of leave that body to just go around doing stuff unconsciously on its own. Or you can come in and be awake and be the entity steering the body and that life and those life creations. And so the first thing that comes up, Myra, when I look at you is precisely that. It's about spirit coming in and taking charge of the physical body. Another way of saying that would be, what's the word? Well, we're not necessarily looking to overcome the ego, but be senior to all of those, aspects that belong to the body. And so I'm seeing sort of like the archetypal struggle with the egoic self being your current life purpose. And, and I'm seeing in particular at the level of the emotions, going through some stuff at the moment where you're sometimes allowing yourself to be ruled by your emotions, be swept away by your emotions, and struggling, where the body and the ego is lashing out or having knee-jerk emotional reactions to stuff. And, and so I'm seeing that your life purpose right now is just how to get a handle on all of that. So I think that's where I'll end that. That's the current life purpose for Myra.
Okay, we have one from Mary, actually. And this is an interesting one. We'll be able to do that with this one. Hello, I would like to request your guidance in my career. I would love to create a business, but I'm feeling confused with which direction to take. Do you see any specific options that would be rewarding and successful for my path? Thank you.
Okay. So actually, she's lacking clarity about what she wants to create, and we didn't cover that at the beginning. But of course, that's another tip, is in order to manifest, you have to know what you want to manifest. So if you're in a state of confusion, then that is then your manifestation is going to be blocked, because you have to know what you want. So this lady, Mary, she actually doesn't know what she wants. So the first way that we could help her is to help get some clarity about what she actually wants. And you can use meditation to do that. You can use grounding to let go of your doubts and your confusion. Oftentimes confusion can be caused by having foreign energy in your space as well, by the way. But I'll check in with Mary's energy and give her a reading specifically about that right now. Okay, so taking a look at Mary, and I am seeing a battle going on between the head and the heart. So what we've got is the logical mind going, well, logically, this is what you should do. And then we have the heart going, oh, yes, but I love this and I love that. And so I'm seeing that you do know what your passion is. You do know what you love, and that creating a business around that might be a great path to follow. Because here's the thing, there's an aspect of the heart, or the heart chakra, the energy center in the heart, called affinity, and it's kind of like an internal onboard guidance system. So when you feel passionate about something, when you feel drawn to something, when you feel magnetized to something, that's your affinity. And it really does give you a clue about what direction to go in. And so many of us were so programmed into our intellect, and by the culture and by the education system, that we have these preconceived ideas about what would be a good business to create. You know, it has to be a business that makes a lot of money. It has to be a business that does this, that, and the other. And so, you know, that's a lot of people end up choosing a career or a business that really is nothing that they don't love. They, you know, we know a lady who she's very wealthy and she makes her money by investing in real estate, which she hates, but she does it because she likes the money that it creates. You know, so many people end up doing something that they don't enjoy because they don't give themselves permission to follow their heart. And so that's what my advice to you, Mary, would be, is, you know, it looks like what you're doing is you're analysing, being logical, thinking things through, and your logical brain, which is an aspect of the body, is giving you one set of ideas about a business to create. And then your heart, which is full of passion and enthusiasm, which is you, the spiritual being, is directing you in another direction. So, follow the heart. I think I'll stop that one there.
Can I just add just a little bit to that one? Well, you know, business is an interesting thing. Just because you don't know what business it is, don't forget the universe, in essence, knows what's best for you as well. They've been studying you your whole life and pre-life. Well,
you are the universe.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if you leave it up to the universe and you say, I want to start a business, show me the best business to go into, or send me a business that would make me happy and also pay the bills, you know.
Yeah, you can manifest. Yeah, you can focus on manifesting the business that you would suit you. At the same time, you still do have to work on what's blocking you from accepting that into your life.
Definitely.
Which is where Mary's stuck at right now.
And then don't expect, you know, to be walking down the street one day and somebody open the door, smack you in the nose with it, and then you see the for sale sign, or, you know, business partner wanted, or things like that. Keep your options open as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I have one from Kelly now. And here's what I probably could answer in a jovial way. Will I have another baby?
Okay. Oh, okay. Are you sure we didn't get that one before?
No, we didn't get that one.
Because we've had
before.
one like that, and the lady was already pregnant, I remember.
No, this is from somebody different. This is a new one.
Okay, well, I'll take a look.
Trust me.
So, will I have another baby? So you know, I always say on this show, I won't do future time predictions for people. And the reason is because you create your own reality. Because the future is a field of probabilities laid out before you, and depending on the choices that you make and your free will and the energy that you're holding in your system, you know, you forge a path through that field of probabilities. But in a way, having a baby is a slightly different one. Because what can be fun to do there is I just look in present time at whether there is a being who has a spiritual contract with you to potentially be your child. And because, you know, we will create spiritual contracts with one another about relationships that we plan to have together. And so I'm seeing that the answer to that is there a baby being that is in agreement with coming in and being another child for you? And the answer to that is 100% yes, there is. There's a really bright soul that's sort of screaming me, me, me. So that's a simple one. I would say yes, there is a baby being that wants to be your child. Now, of course, it's really up to you and all the people involved to carve out those circumstances as you make your choices and hold your beliefs and all of that. Next.
That was kind of a whoops. Okay, so I have one from Blake. And Blake wants to know, what prevents me to get where I want to in my life? And this is a wonderful manifestation question.
Okay, so Blake is at point A and he wants to go to point B.
I think Blake doesn't care if it's point B, C, D, or E. He just wants to get somewhere.
Wants to get somewhere. Okay, let's take a look at him. What prevents me from going where I... You said going where I want to, though, didn't you?
What prevents me to get where I want in my life?
So Blake knows what he wants. He just somehow doesn't know how to get there. So let's take a look. Oh, this is an additional point to the tips on manifestation, because you're always wondering if there might be something better out there, and that prevents you from making any choices. So it's sort of like it looks like you're always looking over your shoulder of like, am I making the right choice? Is there something better out there for me? And so it's about having conviction. It's about having conviction and realize, well, let's put it this way. There's no right choice. There's no wrong choice. There's just the choice that you make. There's no right. There's no wrong. There's just the choice that you make. Any choice that you make from a soul perspective gives possibilities for expansion and growth and learning. And so I'm seeing where you're stuck is you, even though you say you know where you want to go to, it's like, but if I commit to this, then am I losing out on something else? Could there be something better that I am preventing myself having access to by choosing this? So you're stuck in the need to make the perfect choice. And there is no perfect choice. To move forward, you just need to make a choice. I'm going to do a quick break, and then we'll come back with a few more questions.
Hey, you are psychic. You read my mind.
Welcome back, folks, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley, where we're talking about manifestation this evening.
Okay, I've got another question for you, and this is another great manifestation question where we can help her manifest an outcome. And her name is Helena. And Helena would like to know, will I find a job that I am happy with in the next few months?
Oh, well, that kind of depends on you. If you've been listening to what we've been talking about, will I find a job that I'm happy with in the next few months? Well, what we would suggest is to adopt the frequency of being happy in your job now. So allow yourself to feel into the frequency of being in a happy and fulfilling career or a rewarding job. Okay, what are the feelings that you expect to have once you have manifested this job? And feel them now. Kind of pretend that you already have the job and you're feeling exactly like you want to feel in the job. So be the frequency of that which you want to attract. And the more that you can be that frequency, the more that you can believe in your ability to manifest that for yourself, the more that you can let go and allow the universe to create it for you, the more that you can allow yourself to receive it and have it and not doubt in your ability to create it, then the faster that fulfilling job will manifest into your reality. Now, I just remembered another tip that we didn't mention earlier, or a piece of information, and that is, when we create as spirit, we can create instantly. And that's because as spirit, there is no time and there is no space. Yet we have these projections called physical bodies that are living, the temporal personality, as it were, the aspect of you that's living this life, that's wanting this thing to be manifested. that aspect of you is in time and space. Your body is in time and space. And things don't manifest necessarily immediately here on planet Earth. It takes, because of the time and space aspects, there's a little bit of catch up that the physical body and the physical world usually has to do. And so, you know, sometimes it's just a little bit of patience. Sometimes it's about, well, you know what, you've already created that for yourself. And now, you know, the body and the world is kind of adjusting around you to make that happen for you. So, Helena, rather than... Well, let me just take a look. I will do a quick read on your energy. Let's just take a look at what frequencies you're putting out and see if we can give you a hint on if you need to change anything or not. Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of, you know what, of effort. I've been trying really hard. I've done all of this. I've put out all of these, you know, applications, and you know, I keep being rejected, and and so it looks like you're allowing yourself to spiral into a belief pattern around this situation. And I know it can be hard not to do that, but I would just suggest, if the trick is to let go of the past completely, right? If you've been rejected, let it go. Move on, clear the slate, because be in the present moment where that past does not exist. Don't hold on to it. Don't hold on to the rejection in your mind, because if you do, you'll just create more of it and you'll spiral into more and more rejection. So that would be my tip. It does look like you're allowing some of the circumstances and the blocks that you've encountered to be affecting how you're holding your beliefs around this. And so just try and pull your energy into the present moment and let go of those past experiences. And that will help. Okay, I think we've got time for one more quick one.
Okie dokie. And I have one. I think this one will be a little bit shorter. And this is from Kylie. And Kylie wants to know, will the personal development workshops I'm offering become financially successful soon?
Okay. Let's take a look. So... I'll go back to what I said about, you know, sometimes people focus on the money more than they focus on the real thing that they're wanting to manifest. So what I'm seeing is, you know, and this is an issue for a lot of people who work in this sphere, actually. So let me see how to say this. It looks like you genuinely want to help people. You genuinely love... you know, helping raise people's frequency, bring them out of not believing in themselves into believing in themselves. And so I'm seeing that, you know, in doing these personal development workshops, you're following a genuine urge within yourself to be of service, to help, you know, to give something of value on that level. But I'm seeing that, you know, you hooked your survival into those workshops, and so unfortunately that survival energy has sort of, your concern about being able to survive and make money from the workshop is on the workshop, and that energy is making the workshop appear less attractive to people because of that. And I give this advice to all business owners, actually, is you don't want to put your own energy all over your business. Think of your business as it's like a baby. You know, it's an entity in its own right. It's something you're giving birth to. And so allow it to be its own thing. Allow it to be its own vibration. Don't put all of your own worries and concerns about it onto it. And I would say that to you, Kylie, is pull your own energy and your own worries off of the workshops and allow them to continue to be that bright concept that you originally conceived them to be. And then the energy will be more attractive and people will more easily migrate towards it.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.